job creation, y'all. We are doing business in a different way in Newark now. We're saying that if you're going to come in our city, or if you're in our city, you need to look to hire who? People in our city. So we have successes. This is where sometimes the opposition wants to be just disagreeable. The opposition just needs to listen. We got people documented and see that since we have our team has been coming in City Hall, we've been taking companies that were in Newark for years that we're not hiring enough people. The best example, one of the great partners is Continental. When we walked into office, Continental were only hiring 7% of their employees from the city of Newark. And through our working together, now we're up to almost 30% of their hires are coming from Newark. Literally thousands of jobs. And the thing people have to realize is we've got to get our people now ready to accept the jobs. Because we have so many companies that are ready to hire, and this has happened to me. And we got to be honest with each other. Where we send 20 people to a warehousing firm where they're hiring people $12, $13 an hour, but only 15 show up when they say they're going to show up, and then only half of that can pass a urine test. So we've got to make sure that we get our folks ready for the jobs that are out there. For the first time ever, or a long time, at least as long as I know, our job finding programs down at 990 Broad Street, Newark Works we call it, remember they used to call it the MOET program, is now well over 50% of the people that walk through those doors are getting jobs. So we have to make sure that jobs are coming. We're telling developers if they're going to build here, they have to hire a certain percentage of local people. We're about to, and this is going to be exciting, and I say this, there's no press in the room, this document will be out many months from now. We're about to start going out and shutting down work sites in Newark, you know, if they don't hire local people. I'm almost done, and I'll put on this question. So this is the kind of attitude that we have to take, which says we are going to be determined to make sure that all Newarkers have the opportunities. But the flip side of that is to make sure that we are ready for an opportunity. One of my favorite sayings from this public speaker is this: better to not be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. Okay? So this is something we all got to know about. We've got to start pushing people towards 990 Broad Street. And if you know of folk who say, I've been to 990, I can't, then you bring them to see me personally. How do you see me? Because I have open office hours regularly. The next one, September 23rd, I'll be sitting at Arts High School for hours, just sitting there. And if people will have, if you know people from our team, if anybody on our team knows people looking for a job at Mill 5, bring them directly to see me and let's have a conversation, okay? Directly. I'm very proud about the local builders building on local land. This is so amazing. We used to be a time when you saw, some people called it, I don't want to be mean like this, but the rosification of Newark. You know, a lot of the builders you saw putting up buildings on this house were a few select companies. But what we've done is that a lot of these lots, and you can read about it here on page 20, a lot of the lots in the city of Newark, you said, are going to be built by Newark residents, and we're built by minorities. And now we have, especially in our West Ward, we built 100 lots there, but you see it also here in the Central Ward, minority and local companies building. We have a lot of big program going on that Newark developers and builders get on that. Affordable housing. This is a fact. Please tell people this. We're not where we need to be. We have a housing shortage still. But in 2 short months, we've doubled the production of affordable housing in the city of Newark. Doubled it. Yes, this last week, you guys, we had Bon Jovi here and announced another number of units for affordable housing and at-risk housing, special needs housing, people with AIDS. We've got housing going up for grandparents raising grandchildren. We've got housing going up for people who are recovering from drug addiction. A lot of different housing because we're focusing on creating housing for those workers before we're being left behind in the so-called renaissance. Let's just go forward really quick, almost there. Demolition task force, tearing down homes at a faster pace. I was out there this weekend looking at places that we're going to get more homes torn down because we know this. These abandoned homes become places for drugs, for crime, ultimately for fire that then threatens people next door. And the last thing is anybody who has to report people doing wrong and crimes. We have a new, this is one of the new positions we created last page. And who is he? Jimmy Wright, the Central Ward of our team, a long-time, well-known guy. Mama was with me for years over here at Brick Towers. This is one of our local guys who's saving the city millions of dollars in savings. People doing everything from stealing gas to taking advantage of other things. This is the kind of things that are happening. So I know it's hot. I wanted to walk through that because I wanted you all to have for people that say, hey, look what we're doing on crime. Bam! Look what what we're doing on economic empowerment. Bam! You're looking for a job? Bam! Do this. You're a father, you're coming home from prison, here's a program for you. Bam! Recreation for kids, look what's happening here. Pow! We want people to know the truth and not in political seasons to get caught up on rhetoric. But none of this would have been possible. None of this would have been possible if people like the folk in this room, some of them don't want to admit it, like Chef Benyard or like Phil Great, who saw me when I was just a 20-something kid and said, you know what, we're going to get behind you for the Central Ward Council seat, and then pull off the impossible, and upset a four-term incumbent. People in this room from District 29 to District 5 to District 40 who believed in me, but not me. It wasn't about me. I was a running back. It was my turn to carry the ball. But believed in us as a city that we could begin to make the kind of dramatic change that was necessary for our community. But this is not over yet. We have a lot to do. Let me give you an example. I have to say, I go around a lot. I know what some of my strengths are. One of my strengths is asking for money. Okay? So I ask for money all the time. So from the charter school expansion fund, $25 million raising money for philanthropists. Those parks that we're building, it's not coming all from government money. This is not our taxpayer dollars building all these parks. We created a public-private partnership. We got philanthropists. One guy gave $5 million for city parks out of his own pocket on a check for $5 million. Today we had one of the largest press conferences that drew people from literally from the White House, direct aides to the president in the White House, to the governor was here, all because we now got a grant for $5 million for ex-offender reentry programs here in the city of Newark, a pilot city in the entire nation, picking Newark, New Jersey as being a pilot city to supercharge ex-offender reentry programs. I'm so proud of that, but it all comes from grants from other agencies and nonprofits making those things possible. We're drawing down the resources to make Newark the model and the example for urban transformation. But none of this happened by accident. Many people in this room saw this 10 years ago. That's why we're achieving it now. People in this room did not give up on the dream of Newark 10 years ago. That's why we're experiencing it now. People in this room, in February, Phil Great, were willing to stand on street corners and knock on doors with frozen toes and frozen fingers, trying to convince other people who might not otherwise vote to get it done. But I'm telling you right now, please, we're all emotionally invested in this campaign, and I know Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, fine-looking sister that she is, I know we're emotionally invested in this campaign for a lot of reasons. But let us not forget about what this is about. We want Barack Obama in the White House, not so we can say, hey, Barack Obama. That's not just about, it's not about that. It's about what can Barack Obama do for Newark, New Jersey. Right? Why did I take a risk? And this was a risk. A long time ago, we had some meetings, some people in this room, about where should we go. This was before anybody came out in the presidential election. There were a lot of good candidates in the primary, from Bill Richardson to Hillary Clinton. But we took a risk to be the first group, first organization, I dragged some of you all into it, to jump out real early for Barack Obama. That's right. Now, why did we jump out late? And by the way, look at the folks in Newark. I don't want to call out their names, but there's some elected officials, black elected officials and white elected officials in the city of Newark who were on Hillary Clinton's side. And who told me, I don't want to call their names.
That's right.
We're on the Obama train.
That's right.
Okay, but we stepped out way early. Why? Because we knew that when Barack Obama did win, he would remember those people. Right now, we need to understand something. That it's not about permanent friends or affection. I will work with anybody that brings resources to the city of Newark for us to help achieve the American dream here. This is why I'm not shying away. The Bush administration just gave Newark $2 million. We can all say what we want about Bush. I think the war was the craziest endeavor. I think it will go down in history as probably one of the biggest mistakes that the United States of America has made, and made under false pretenses. Okay, so we could criticize, but I never want to get to the point where I'm so ugly that I'm blindly partisan and I'm missing opportunities because I'm too busy making my fists like this to fight. And so I always want to learn. I made some mistakes fighting, okay, too quick to fight. But we got to embrace people. So this whole prison reentry coalition, we've got right-wing people. There's a group called the Manhattan Institute in New York, leans a little to the right. They've given thousands of dollars to Newark's reentry program. We got left-leaning people like the Institute for Social Justice that is here, right here in Newark, New Jersey. We're bringing people together. But the thing is, I want no matter who's president of the United States, who's governor of New Jersey, excuse me, whoever the senator is, Lautenberg, and how hard we're working for him, I want them to know that when they get down there and they look over their shoulder behind from where they came from, or look over their shoulder back in Newark, New Jersey, they see that there is a politically organized, politically motivated, gonna turn out and vote, gonna do what's necessary to hold them accountable group of people that's gonna make it happen. Now this is a great election because we're well positioned. If McCain wins, I'm telling you right now, don't talk about me, but I'm gonna go down there and I'll be talking to John McCain about bringing resources back. But right now, we're positioned. I've been so early with a candidate for a candidate to know that we were stepping out and fighting for them and nobody else, or many other people wouldn't fight for them. So we got a lot of blood in this Obama game. So I really need us to come out and fight. I really need us to work a little harder. I really need us to raise the voter turnout. I really need us to get on people who are saying, oh, he's going to win anyway, or hey, he's going to win New Jersey anyway. I really need us to do, I need to ask for the people who've given so much already, for me, for the Central Ward, for the Booker team, for Obama, who led, some people he got on a bus and went to Ohio, okay, to fight. But those primaries are over, Central Ward races are over that I ran in. I need you now. The last thing I'll say, then I'll answer some questions, is about the Central Ward Council race. This is the thing right now. We have a city council that, in my opinion, and I don't even do my opinion, you don't talk to people in the city clerk's office, have worked together as a team. You don't, no longer on the city council do you see the yelling and cussing and spitting that you used to see on the city council. You have a much better city council working together. And Jermaine and I talk about this all the time. We may have fights with individuals on the council, but 9 out of 10 things we all agree on. So when it's time for me to ask them for big things, like the summer job program coming up for kids, and help us get a little more money for that, or ask them to cooperate with legislation that's going to help newer homeowners get more money for heating oil, or legislation that's going to help them get more money for environmentally green efforts in their building, or to pass more laws that we need to empower people like the prevailing wage law or other things. We've got a great council. So we want to just make sure that whoever is elected to the Central Ward Council seat, that it's not going to be somebody that goes in there with a mission to be destructive, but it goes in there with a mission to be constructive. We want to make sure that they don't go with their mission to tear down, but they go in there with a mission to build up. Okay, we want to make sure that they go in there with a mission not to be a kamikaze pilot just trying to crash and burn, but they go in there to be a healer, looking to heal and to grow and to love in the way that we want to try to do in the Central Ward. So this is going to be a tough decision. And I have to say it's going to be a tough decision because even within our own circle, there are a lot of different people stepping forward and saying, I want to run. And so what we have to do is try to make the most judicious decision necessary. And let me tell you what some of my biases are. And I've heard this. Ms. Harper, I've heard this, I've heard this, I've heard this. I have a sentimental bias. Not a sentiment, that's a way of saying it. I just believe that we as a group have already made a statement. We made a statement in the assembly races that the very male-dominated assembly was going to have women representatives. And so who do we support? We supported Grace Spencer as a black woman, a Senate person, the first person to go back as a black woman from that district since Winona Lippman. Okay? In the other district, we in the Central Ward supported people like Cleopatra Tucker to go back and represent that great Donald Tucker, that great name that Donald Tucker made so real. So we've done a great job as a group of elevating women in a male-dominated political game, and that's important. And so that's one thing that I'm definitely looking at to take care of Rika. That's one of the things I'm looking at. The other thing is we got to understand something. I hate to tell you this, but we got to win. We can't get involved in this fight and lose, or get involved in a fight that in some other way could put us in a position where we slide backwards as a political organization. And that was a phenomenal point that you made, that we've been saying as well, that we've got to understand. Sometimes we want to not look at it that we just don't have a chance to fight, but a fighting chance. And that's something that we're going to really look at, is who can we partner up with, who can we make alliances with in the city so that we ensure that our candidate can win no matter who they are. So those are my three things. One is I want to make sure that we have the right person in there that's not going to go in there and try to destroy or take us backwards. Okay, we don't want to go back to where we were. In the Central Ward especially, precincts that don't work, development that wasn't going to the local community, parks that weren't being built. We want to make sure we have somebody who's going to bring us forward. We want to make sure that we give the opportunity to find a female. We want to really see if we can advance that. And then the last one is to make sure that we really have a chance to win it. That I'm not pushing everybody in this room into a fight that at the end of the day we'll see Obama go to the White House, but in our local election have taken a loss. So those are the things that we're looking at right now. Some of you might have heard me. I have really tried to take a step back. I've tried to go to other camps around the city and just say, who do you want? Who do you want? And letting our camp just wait for a little while, and that's really where we are. But by the end of the week, or by the early next week, probably by Friday or Saturday, the people's cards are going to be shown, and we're going to have to make a choice. And I hope to talk to some more people in this room. But when we say go, this is something I hope, is that we can have discipline of an organization. And this is the kind of thing that we have to learn, and this is the kind of thing that the North Ward Machine Boss does real well, is that if we all decide to go right, we all have to go right even if we don't like it, even if we don't agree about it.
Right.
If we're not like that, it's just like, oh, this time I'm with you because I like what you're doing. This next time I don't like what you're doing. I'm not going to go. That's the wrong way to go for a common community advancement. As we say sometimes, I say in Jermaine in my office when we have our senior staff meetings, like none of us are going to get everything we want. We can advocate like crazy for our position. But once that decision is made, we all need to work together to achieve our goals. All right? So remember what we are about. We're not about politics. We're a political organization, but we're not about politics. We're about achieving results for our community. Politics is a means to a greater end. And in that case, again, I want to thank this room. And I know we got a great North Ward group, South Ward group, East, West Ward, East Ward. But I have to tell you, this is my base in this room. People in this room have been fighting with me for about 15 years on this journey to make change in the city. And I'm so grateful because there are people in this room that sustain me every day, support me, pray for me, work with me, pull me aside, whisper in my ear when they think I'm doing right or think I'm doing wrong. But nobody's abandoned me, and that's something that means so much to me. So you all have my gratitude. I'm now covered in sweat. Why don't I answer a couple questions, and then Jay, we'll close it out. Okay, questions right. There are two right here. Ladies first, and then the gentleman.
Hi, I'm Deborah Cole Granger. Most of you know me. I'm a detective, also in New York. I've been here 49 years, all of my life. My parents were civil rights activists here. I think for the Central Ward seat, it must be filled, but it does not need to be gender biased. It should be filled by the best person possible for the job that's going to move us forward. Be it male or be it female. So let's not just get stuck in finding a female. Let's find the best person for the job.
I so appreciate that. Let me echo that. But let me tell you something right now. So everything she said is 1,000% true, but I want to moderate it a little bit. I know right now, if we could just anoint the Central Ward Council person, we would find a phenomenal person. There's some people in this room, frankly, that would be the best person possible. So the only moderation of that is we also have to be acceptable of the political realities in which we exist. The best person possible in this political reality, where they're already mounting Charlie Bell in another faction, we also have to not demonize the individual. But I'm simply saying that we might pick somebody and somebody say, well, that's not the best person, but it might be the person that can win and the person that will do those things that we know we need to get done, which means working with our group to get things done. So that's only moderation. Because there's some people in this room, if I was just czar of Newark, not mayor of Newark, if I was czar, I would just point to somebody and say, you should be the council person. But we got to weigh it against the political realities as well. Okay? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate you and your whole organization concerning these initiatives. One important one that you have, but you had a lot of ground to cover, and that was the initiative on legacy took from the leaders the continued social program for young people.
Yes.
That is not like to be involved.
Thank you very much. So that's actually what he said. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
But one thing, because I cannot come in, I congratulate you. And I want all to remember that I invited your mother and father to my church after seeing you back to
Yes.
church when you were first one.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I don't regret it. But one thing I do not see is, and that's the one fight I have, is that Newark must employ Newarkers. Why is there crime on Maple Avenue that interconnects with middle income and upper middle income neighborhood? Because the kids in that neighborhood don't have jobs. The people in that neighborhood shop in the Short Hills Mall or the Livingston Mall or wherever you shop. But we got to put our local work. And the only thing I'm saying, and then I'll shut up, is the fact that these construction sites, you don't see people.
So let me comment on a few things. Let me comment on a few things. So first and foremost, what he's saying is a major problem with Newark, and we got to admit it to ourselves. Right now, we have every single year, we take our money, about over $500 million every year, and we shop outside of Newark in restaurants and grocery stores, buying our electronics, what we call, with the economists, we had a Boston Consulting do a study for us. We hemorrhage our own money. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars outside of the city of Newark, which causes a retail leakage, they call it. Which means right now, actually, this was the beginning, we're starting to change it, but we're at the beginning of this administration, 2006, Jersey City had twice the retail jobs that we had, because we're taking our retail money and going shopping in places like Jersey City. So what we need to do is create more of a business class here. One of the motivations behind the Minority Loan Fund to try to create more local businesses that can get things done. The second thing is, the last point I already committed, we have to do better about getting people in Newark to abide by the laws of Newark. So some of the big companies I'm very happy about, Continental, PSE&G, but these work sites, and this is why I told you guys, and I'm glad there's no press here, but I'm telling you guys right now, we're going to start, we're doing all the legal work now, because we don't want to overstep our bounds. In some ways, we might not have the constitutional power to do these things, but if other people aren't doing it, we might push the envelope a little bit, but something's going to happen starting in October or November in the city of Newark, that you're going to see me rolling around the city and going to work sites and shutting them down, challenging people to sue me. So all I want to know is if I go to jail for this, I'm visiting.